Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, Mr. Volodymyr Zelensky unveiled his victory plan in front of the Ukrainian Parliament, and we're going to see the 5 points that he's got over there. We're going to discuss each and one of them one by one. And if we implement that victory plan of Mr. Zelensky, then the war will end by 2025. By 2025. Before we get into this, I don't know how many articles I have here, because I have the answer, the British answer, the Russian answer, the West, what the West thinks. Let's start with some vocabulary definitions, with some definitions. If I say I'll be at your house by 9 o'clock a.m., what does that mean? That means that I will be there before 9 o'clock a.m. Correct? Correct. So if I say I'll be there by 9, that means before 9 I'll be there. So if I say have a title, Victory Plan Could End War by 2025, that means before January 1st, 2025. Correct? So that would be half of October, November, December. So Mr. Zelensky's plan aims to end this war or this world by 1st of January 2025. Now, that was the first one. The second one, this is the one of the articles, and I would like you to look at the title, the headline, right there. This is from Ukrainska Pravda. If you really want to know, it was from 7 o'clock a.m. right there, 7:37. Ukrainska Pravda, victory plan could end war by 2025. But it's clear? Clear. And I took that's the beginning of the article, and then you don't have it because it's a picture, okay? It's a screenshot. That's how I pick my subjects. Screenshot and then so on, and get and put them over there and look at look for the articles. I can't find the article. I can't find the article. The title. That title is no more. I wonder why. Let me show you. So you memorized the title. Victory plan could end war by 2025. I put here Ukrainska Pravda. Victory plan could end war by 2025. Says even Zelensky with double Y. I put. And these are the results. See, that's nothing like that. It's no, nothing like my title. And I said, okay, here we have. This is the closest. Zelensky says he hopes to end the war no later than 2025. That could include 2025 as well. Correct? Correct. Well, what else did I do? I went to Ukrainska Pravda and I said, you know what? Let me try. Maybe if I go to Ukrainska Pravda, right here, I will find the article over there. This is Ukrainska Pravda. And I looked here again, victory plan, White House, North Korea, Parapap, Ukrainska. Nothing about 2025. The title disappeared. Disappeared. Got that? Now it happened before, obviously. So what remained was just the conversation on what this victory plan is. Again, Ukrainska Pravda, Zelensky presents the victory plan. 5 points and 3 secret appendices. October 16th, 2024. From the get-go, I will say this. If this plan is implemented, I see a nuclear war between Russia and, among Europeans. Not the rest of the world, among Europeans, which is the Russians, the Europeans, and maybe the United States of America. Maybe. It's not going to get that far because the United States of America will say, hold on, time out. Now it hurts me personally, so let's discuss. If there's anybody else to discuss the victory plan. That's what it is. Why? Because Zelensky, in his 5 points, will make a case that would automatically trigger nuclear war between Russia and whomever is involved. Who's involved? Great Britain. It seems like Great Britain is the field office. Remember, Great Britain is the house slave, the house servant. The rest of the baboons, the vassal states, under Al Capone's plantation are over there cutting sugar cane. And Great Britain is the house slave. A little bit higher, but still a slave. And the master's over there, picking and whomever he wants. Actually, after all, it's Al Capone, right? So let's read these 5 points, one by one. President Volodymyr Zelensky has presented his victory plan, which consists of 5 points and 3 secret appendices to the Verkhovna Rada, Ukrainian Parliament, on Wednesday, 16th of October 2024. This is the result. Ukrainian Parliament unanimously supports Ukraine's victory plan. This is, look at this guy. He looks very trustworthy. Can you loan him? At least he got some crystal glass over there. Good for you. You respect yourself. So, victory plan, if this is agreed upon and the baboons in the West agree, we might not be anymore by 2025. But Israel will be, and others will be, outside of Europe and North America possibly. Okay, I don't want to be so, evil in saying this kind of things, but hey, time will tell. Zelensky said that the implementation of the peace plan depends on Ukraine's partners, not Russia. That means he doesn't talk to Russia. All we need is you come and fight Russia, blow one another up. Oh, nice here. The president stressed that Russia is not looking for an honest peace, but you are. Okay, let's move on. This is blah, blah, blah. All right, the first point, and a very important one, is an invitation to NATO right now. It is a determination of how the partners see Ukraine placed in the security architecture. So let's say, why would you want to be part of NATO now? Let's say NATO says, now you are Ukraine, right now you're a member, full member. What does that mean? You tell me. They think that Russia will say, oh my God, now you're part of NATO. These guys can claim Article 5, which is all for one and one for all. So that means you're going to get involved in a war with us unless we say, ar, 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 and go back to Vladivostok. But it's not going to be enough because that's just the beginning of the fucking party here. What am I looking for here? I'm looking for of this. Russia has to be dismembered or kneeled and This is just the beginning. Pay about, they said about 750 billion, was it billion? $1 billion, I think, for reparations and so on. This is just the beginning, just the beginning. So these guys say, we want to be part of NATO, so if Russia continues, you can with your military fight Russia. And Russia will nuke you, and we nuke Russia, and then that's the way we're going to see who? Yahweh or Jesus? Who are we going to see? Nobody. We're not going to see shit. Anyway, according to me. So this is the first point. He thinks that being part of NATO, NATO will intervene and attack Russia, or Russia will be afraid to attack NATO. So he wants to take the hot potato from the fire with the European hands. Why? Because some Brits and some Americans, some of them don't consider them Europeans, just so you know, they said, okay, let's have this with your hands, your little hands. This is the first point. If this happens, that means I want you to fight the Russians. That's been from the very beginning. And who's going to be fighting the Russians? You. Not me. I'm going to be far away, far away. All right, let's move on. The president said that the second point of the plan is defense. It is the permanent strengthening of Ukrainian defense and the redirection of the war towards Russia in the sense of relocating the combat to Russian territory. This point has a secret appendix. I can tell you what it is. Strikes inside Russia. I mean, we all know it. All right, this is because in the sense of relocating the combat to Russian territory, attacking Russia. I mean, secret appendix. The third point is the deterrence of Russian aggression. It is also has a secret appendix to which the leaders of the United States, the UK, and Italy have access. Ukraine proposes to deploy a comprehensive non-nuclear deterrent package on its territory to deter further Russian aggression. Do you understand what that is? So Ukraine proposes to deploy a comprehensive non-nuclear deterrent package on its territory. Who? NATO on Ukraine territory or Ukrainians into NATO territory? I think that's the one. Why? I saw it already. The fourth point is Ukraine's strategic and economic potential. There is also a secret appendix that is being passed on to the US and EU. It provides for an agreement with partners. strategic and economic potential. That means you guys are going to work like slaves to help them fight the evil Russians. And your children and maybe your grandchildren, maybe your nations, maybe your state, nation states will be just, belonging to someone else because you're going to be impoverished to fight the Russians. How about that? Would you want to do that? No, I want peace with Russia right now. I don't give a shit about that Crimea and that thing, right? But why would I? Do they care about me? Yes, they defend your freedoms. All right, you want to buy that one? Go, you pay. You take your children, you take whomever, you go to Ukraine and fight. But hey, in a democratic system, you vote one time and those guys can screw your life and your future how much they want. And you work within the system by voting them out of the office. No, that's not my way of dealing with these kind of things. The fifth point is designated for the post-war period. What post-war? It's not going to be any post-war. It's going to be atomic. What are you talking about? Ukrainian experience should be used for the whole alliance. Ukrainian experience, my God. Remember, and I don't try to insult the Ukrainians, but this is in a funny way, the way I look at these things. You have some baboons on a bicycle. The baboons are just riding the bike. They didn't design the bike. They didn't build the bike. They don't understand how the bike works. All right? You can take a Romanian baboon and put it on the bike. Or a French baboon and put it on the bike. Maybe not French, but it's Albanian or Bulgarian or Hungarian baboon and ride the bike. But the bike belongs to someone else. So when he says use the baboon's experience, no, they used you, just your finger, to push on our weapon, on trigger. That's all you did. Your experience was based on the NATO commanders telling you what the fuck to do. What are you talking about? Do you think that this campaign against Russia is done by the Ukrainians and they keep the secret and these guys don't know what's going on in Ukraine? They control, I think, and they know each and every major, operation in Ukraine. What possibly can you give these guys when you're just riding the bike they gave you? Sorry for the, how should I put it, analogy, but that's the way I see it. Because if it's not the Ukrainians, could be the Romanians, the baboons. Could be the Poles, could be the Baltic states, the same way. It's the guys who organize know what's going on, what expertise. Could go. What do you think that the Ukrainians knew about it? The drones warfare? They all know it. The Chinese are looking at it. The Israelis are looking at it. All these big countries with interest, they're looking at it. They know everything, all the tactics over there. Do you think it's so secret what these guys are doing? They hear the communication. Or do you think it's what? The enigma, the code and so on? They have it, but you can see it in the field. I mean, it's baboonish. But nevertheless, he says that, the expertise should be used for the whole alliance. That's why the alliance benefits from the baboons who ride the bike and the defense of Europe. Kiev proposes, listen to this one. This is so idiotic. Kiev proposes replacing the US military in Europe with Ukrainian troops after the war. Let me read it again. Kiev proposes replacing the US military in Europe with Ukrainian troops after the war. And let's say, do you think Poland will agree to that? I know the Romanian baboons will agree because they, whatever Al Capone tells them. But Poles have balls. They will not agree with Ukrainian troops on their territory protecting them. Maybe at the border over there, How is that? What is his name? Can't remember him. Unbelievable. Anyway, Hannibal is at the gate. Remember? The same here. Hannibal is at the gate. You don't want to do that one. So this was the 5 points. 5 points of this imbecile. I mean, is he dreaming? That's exactly what the Russians' answer is. Ukraine needs to sober out or sober up. Let's go to the next article and see. I already showed you the parliament agrees with that, with your destruction. The Europeans are going to fuck themselves the third time, but this one for good. The first one, they fucked themselves in the First World War for the second one for the same and now the third one for the same Can you see the pattern? And what's the who's not in charge of Russia anymore? Many things are not. People who know shit know exactly what I'm talking about. Remember how the United States of America was dragged in the wars? Do you remember? By whom? You gotta know. If you don't know, sorry. Okay, let's see. This is what these baboons want. Ukrainska Pravda. Ukraine seeks NATO invitation before Biden's terms end, says the ambassador, according to Reuters. That means we're gonna have the end of the world before before Biden's terms end. But this doesn't stand with the war ending before 2025. Well, next one. Ukraine pushes for NATO invitation before Biden leaves office. You have, beautiful, right here, yeah. These guys are just dreaming. It's very dangerous what's going on. Very dangerous. But the Brits are all in it. They agree with that. Let me show you. We're going to go to Reuters. This is your original. Ukraine wants NATO invite before Biden leaves office. They want, first, we can take you off the bike, so you can't want shit. We're going to just bzz, 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 and put you back on the bike if we want. That's the point. Ukraine wants. You're not in a position, unfortunately. The Ukrainian nation is owned. And unfortunately, it's going to go to its own destruction. So let's go and see what the UK says about this. Ukrainska Pravda. UK prepares its proposals to fulfill the victory plan. So these guys are go ahead. Chief of Ukraine's armed forces, the Russian Zelenskiy, says. Alexander Zelenskiy has discussed the possibility of strikes on military targets in Russia and the implementation of the victory plan with Admiral Sir Tony Ratkin, an imbecile, chief of the UK Defence Staff. All right, the UK side is currently working on its own proposals as part of its practical implementation of the victory plan. My British friends, do you understand that you expose yourselves to being nuked by Russia? And if you give me this as a counter argument, yeah, we're going to nuke them back, my question is, why should you nuke one another? Why did we have to get to this point? Did we need to go to this point? Do you think that the problem in Ukraine, in Donbass, in Crimea, in NATO, in Ukraine, necessitated a conversation between the Brits and the Russians nuking one another? Do you think that is the end? Do you think that's the... If that falls, Great Britain falls? I mean, if you're willing to do that, go and fight. Do what the hell ever you want. But I'm sorry, these guys package their, and have been packaging their message at the baboon level. It's not hard to see through it. So the Brits are all for it. Next one. This is a very weasel headline. According to Associated Press, Zelenskyy's victory plan includes a big hurdle for the West, an invitation to Ukraine to join NATO. That is hurdle for you guys, for the Western. Remember the First World War, Second World War? Okay, they're going to be the third one. So hurdle for the West, destruction that is. And if you invite Ukraine to join NATO, the hurdle will be your third fight in Europe. And everybody else and the people that are behind many things, they will be like, a lot of reconstruction or get rid of our enemies. And what are we going to do? We're going to celebrate. We're going to put it again in our calendar as a new day. I don't know. I mean, it was the Egyptians, then it was the Babylonians, now it's the Westerners. All right, next move. Let's see what the Russians are, how they're viewing this garbage. I'm so irritated, man, about this. Reuters. Kremlin commenting on Zelenskyy's victory plan says Ukraine needs to sober up. Well, you tell me who are the reasonable people here, or people with reason, use reason. I know evil people can use reason as well, and can be reasonable at times, or at time. The Kremlin said on Wednesday it was too early to comment in detail on Ukrainian Zelenskyy's victory plan, but that Kiev needed to sober up and realize the futility of the policies it was pursuing. We have nuclear weapons. Got that? Zelensky on Wednesday presented a 5-point victory plan, which he said called for an unconditional invitation for Kiev to join NATO and a strategic non-nuclear deterrent package for Ukraine, among other things. This is one of the, I know it's an unprovoked war on Ukraine, but this is one of the reasons why Russia invaded. All right, let's see. Dmitry Peskov said the Ukrainian plan was probably a camouflaged US plan, which he said was about using Kiev to fight against Russia until the last Ukrainian. End quote. And I'm quoting, but there could be a different plan there, which could be really peaceful, which is for the Kiev regime to realize the futility of the policies they are pursuing and to realize the need to sober up and realize the causes that led to this conflict. Got it? I think that's accurate. But I'm not going to go over again the NATO moving closer, 1991, 1994, 2014, 2015, 2021, 2022. I'm not going to start with this bullshit again. The point is, NATO was the reason why these guys invaded. And the guys, and NATO, the guys who overthrew the government in Kiev. And then they did what they did with ethnic Russians in Crimea and in Donbass. I can go as Zaporozhye, and if I go to the Donbass over there, it's going to be obviously Luhansk and Donetsk. Those are the main reasons. You came closer to me, too close for my comfort, and you didn't give a shit. I'm going to punch you in the face. That's what I do. Unless you want to be fucked. I mean, you can pick. Anyway, my friends, here it is. So, let's look at a few possibilities. First, if NATO invites Ukraine, I don't think it being invited it's part of the Article 5. But if it's going to be already, they want to be a member before Biden leaves, what do you think will happen? The ball is going to be on the NATO side. Will NATO send troops over there to fight the Russians? Do you think so? Very possible, very possible. And they will say, well, we're going to send them over there just to protect our civilians over there. It could be that one. So, could drag Europe in a war? Yeah, I think that's been one of the decisions made, I think, a long time ago. They just let us know little by little. And they will try to portray it as being because of the Russians, all the time the Russians. I mean, is there any point when these guys made a mistake? I'm talking about a real mistake, not like not destroying Russia earlier or something like this bullshit. Like real mistake. Like we shouldn't have done this. Maybe we shouldn't move NATO a little bit further. Maybe we shouldn't expand 5 times. Maybe we shouldn't help the coup in Kiev. Maybe we should have talked to the Russians in 2021. Maybe we should. Is there anything like this? No, these guys haven't made any mistakes. And I'm not talking about the mistakes that you sometimes, if you go to an interview, you're asked, tell me about situation in your life when you failed. Your point over there is not for you to say, well, I failed. I fucked up. I screwed up. No. Your point over there is to say, I failed because of this, but I came back even greater. That's the point. So these guys are using the same garbage when they talk, have you made a mistake regarding Russia? And they say, yes, we should have not allowed Russia take Crimea. Or they shouldn't have done it in 2014. We should have been more aggressive. That means the same old shit. No, something that you really made a mistake. No, they have not done any mistakes. They did not do any wrong. Is it possible? No, it's impossible. It's possible only when you lie. Only when you lie, everything is possible. I've never made a mistake ever, and I lie when I made a mistake, or I hide it, lying by omission. All right, so this is one thing that could happen, or maybe the Americans stop this imbecile Zelensky, but Zelensky can ask for things. But I'm afraid there are people behind him that have him ask. It's like you need sometimes to say certain things, and people can use it. They will denounce you. They will say, that's wrong what Emil said. But nevertheless, they will say it. They need some to start rolling the ball. So Zelensky is the one that rolls the ball, and behind him are people who push him to roll the ball. So this guy say, yes, that's a victory plan. Yes, it's a peace plan. Yes, maybe that could be done. It's not like it came from us. No, it's from Zelensky, because Zelensky, the Ukrainian Zelensky, fights the evil Russians. So we're just going to react to all this victory plan, to this peace plan. It's his country, his decision. Really? I mean, how baboon must you be in order to believe that? Or evil? Mostly. Anyway, thank you very much for being with me again today. We'll see how these guys respond, but I think they will go ahead. If I don't think it's going to be any NATO membership, but the idea is clear. Europe must boom again. Who's behind this? I think some non-Europeans. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.